McLaren are the team of the moment in Formula 1. Much like Aston Martin's incredible early season form, McLaren's sudden jump in performance has brought all eyes to them. Many of us, me included, thought that Aston Martin's performance would continue to improve as the season progressed, but that hasn't happened. McLaren are determined to not let that happen to them, and they have a plan for making sure they continue to challenge for podiums. Do you want to know what it is? Then stick around until the end of the video. McLaren F1 has shown some pretty incredible performance over the last 3 races. A 4th place finish in Austria for Lando Norris was followed by a spot on the podium at Silverstone and the Hungaroring. Oscar Piastri has managed a 4th and 5th place finish since the upgrades have been fitted to his car as well. Even more impressively, the MCL60 has shown that performance across a variety of tracks. Silverstone is a mid to low downforce track requiring a lot of straight line speed and grip in high speed corners. The Hungaroring demands more downforce from the car, with its short straights and low to mid-speed corners. After his performance at Silverstone, where he successfully converted his front row start into a 2nd place finish, Norris anticipated a much harder time of it at the Hungaroring, noting after the British Grand Prix that the McLaren's performance in low-speed corners was still poor. McLaren nonetheless impressed in qualifying in Hungary, blocking out the 2nd row of the grid as Norris missed out on pole by 0.085 seconds. And Oscar Piastri claimed 4th on the grid. Definitely not a poor performance at a track Lando thought they would struggle at. Although Norris admitted to being surprised by his qualifying performance, he suggested that the Hungaroring is closer to a medium-speed circuit layout, despite its reputation as a downforce-heavy venue. He isn't the only driver to say this, and it came up in commentary during the race as well. Despite the Hungaroring not having any big straights or high-speed corners, it also doesn't require the drivers to slow down that much, with most corners being taken in a middling gear. Lando said after qualifying in Hungary that the McLaren may struggle in select corners over the rest of the season, feeling that La Source at Spa was a likely spot that would sap time from the team's competitive laps. I think the thing is that everyone says Budapest is a slow-speed circuit, but really I'd say it's a lot closer to medium speed. You never even use 2nd gear around the whole circuit, Norris suggested. The slower speed is where we struggle. So where we're worst is in the chicane, turn 1 and turn 12. That's where we lose a lot of our time, but definitely close to be only 800ths off pole position. I think it's clear that we've got some weaknesses, and those weaknesses are going to show in certain places. Even in Spa we're going to struggle at certain places even more, like turn 1. I'm really scared of turn 1 in Spa. But yeah, there's many other things which are obviously very positive, and if we're still here and under a 10th off pole position. Turn 1, or La Source at Spa, is one of the better overtaking spots on the course, but Lando and McLaren will be hoping that they can make up for their low-speed performance deficit over the rest of the high-speed track. McLaren's goal from here has to be to continue improving as the season carries on. After Hungary, Fernando Alonso said his team was now the 5th fastest on the grid, a big decline from their undisputed place as 2nd fastest at the start of the season. Luckily for all you fans watching, that's exactly what they plan to do. With the summer break coming into view after this weekend's Belgian Grand Prix, it's usually the time of year where the teams all start switching their attention to next season's car, with some choosing to tail off on introducing upgrades. The technical regulations won't be changing next year, at the moment anyway, so McLaren won't be doing that. With the team recently having fitted upgrades that have elevated them from the midfield into best of the rest contenders and 2 successive podiums. In Austria, revised side pods were brought to the car, as well as altered bodywork around the engine cover and a new floor design. At Silverstone, a new front wing and nose, as well as an evolved rear suspension, resulted in Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri securing 2nd and 3rd on the grid, before finishing 2nd and 4th in the race. The 3rd stage of the upgrade was scheduled for Hungary, but was pushed back as a result of longer than expected lead times on production of the parts. The Austria parts were approximately 50% of the upgrade, and Silverstone's parts were another 25% according to the team. Team principal Andrea Stella said, "Then when it comes to the upgrades, actually we realised that we need from a design and production point of view a bit more time to complete the full round. So what we'll actually see is that there will be some new parts coming in the next races, and above all post-shutdown. So McLaren are still missing 25% of their planned upgrade package, which will likely appear on the car in time for the Dutch Grand Prix. Perhaps Max Verstappen's home Grand Prix could be Red Bull's first loss of the season. That would really spoil the Orange Army's party. The team isn't stopping there though. The stable regulations for 2024 means most of this year's learning will carry over to next year, as CEO Zak Brown explained to Sky F1. "We're pretty much staying the same. Everything that we've learned this season applies to the next season," he said, when asked about the plans for the rest of the year. "So we're head down, we're full throttle. We have more developments coming, we'll have some big stuff later in the year, and I think we just keep pushing. We see how quickly it can change. You look at Alfa Romeo, they were 9th, 10th in the championship, and then they were quick in qualifying, and Williams has been in Q3. So it's so close. I don't think we can sit here and assume anything." McLaren are at a big advantage at the moment over the teams around them. After the Canadian Grand Prix on the 1st of July, the aero testing restrictions were recalculated, and McLaren's poor start to this season means they actually have more testing in the second half of the year than they did in the first half. McLaren have 95% of the baseline testing time from the 1st of July until the 1st of January 2024. Compared to Red Bull, who have 63% of the baseline, that is over 50% more testing time. They have 26.7% more than Mercedes as well, who now appear to be their closest rival. McLaren are in an incredible position to continue improving much quicker than the cars around them. McLaren's introduction of the first 2 stages of a pivotal 3-step update that will mean pretty much every aerodynamic part on the car changes have had an incredible effect on the car. With this recent form allowing McLaren to beat Mercedes, team principal of the 8-time Constructors' Championship winning squad Toto Wolff reckons his competitors had gained a second per lap. The Austrian said, "You can see how McLaren has leapfrogged everybody else with an update. They didn't expect to come in that powerful. Whatever it was, they've gained a second probably, and they leapfrogged Aston Martin and Ferrari, who we've seen as really strong contenders at the beginning of the season, and now they're nowhere." While Stella did not publicly declare the lap time found by the revisions to the MCL60, he reckoned Wolff had exaggerated the gains. Following the most recent Budapest round, in which Oscar Piastri finished 5th after losing out to Norris via the undercut before sustaining floor damage, Stella said, "In fairness, we haven't done a proper numerical estimate. We had our own internal estimate based on what we saw in the aerodynamic maps. And then you simulate these and this gives you a number, which I cannot share really, but it wasn't 1 second. So I think somehow the behavior of your car and the development of your car kind of helps with tires at the same time. This gives you further lap time benefit." Stella is of course referring to the new tire construction that was introduced at Silverstone that is speculated to be giving Aston Martin and Red Bull new problems to solve. On top of the new upgrades being excellent, a massive testing advantage over their opponents and some help from the new tires, McLaren also have a new wind tunnel which has been finished this month. While they haven't been able to run any parts through it yet, they will be in the next few months, and that will be another huge boost for the team. Until the new tunnel goes live, McLaren uses Toyota's tunnel in Cologne, and the logistics involved in sending parts off to Germany has impacted the team's speed in bringing development parts to its race cars. So McLaren have a more competitive car, which they're going to continue upgrading for the rest of the season, with more testing time than their competitors, in a state-of-the-art wind tunnel. This could be the beginning of McLaren's return to the top of Formula 1, and in Lando Norris and Oscar Piastri, they have the drivers to make the most of it. Could Lando and Oscar mirror the success of Senna and Prost in the late 80s and early 90s? Let me know if you think it's possible in the comments down below, and until next time, drive safe and bye for now.